Welcome to this week's episode, an interview with a giant of a leader in the grain and milling business, Bill Stoufer. Bill built his career with Conagra Foods and is now the Chief Operating Officer at Ardent Mills. You'll quickly notice that he takes a particular view of the role of technology in enabling the industry to better serve both customer and consumer needs and ultimately enable the future direction of food, something that he hits on towards the end of our conversation. Hope you enjoy it. All right. Well, Bill, thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you. And to kick this off, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career background?
Well, thanks for having me. I've been in grain processing and food production for 28 years in the Midwest, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time in the industries.
Yeah. So you've had some a lot of dynamic experiences. It seems like what's been your favorite career experience so far, just in terms of a responsibility or a specific team you worked with or anything like that?
I think one of the funnest things that I get to do every day, day in and day out, and through the years, has been seeing our business perform for a customer. So going and talking to customers and seeing how we're doing. And then, right behind that, I would tell you I enjoy innovation and spending time trying to find new or different products or processes for the business.
Oh, okay. So that's why we're having this conversation. So before I drill down on that, for any of our listeners that may not be in the grain processing business, can you just walk us through what the grain value chain looks like, and what's that flow from start to finish at a really high level?
I think it starts without a doubt with the excellent farmers throughout North America. We work closely with them. They are. Everything starts and stops with the growers and the farmers. They're very passionate about what they do, and they really provide a lot of energy to our business. Once they get the crops grown, whether they come directly to us or to another commercial elevator, they get transported all over North America to our facilities. We'll process it into what our customers are looking for. And then we ship from our facilities directly to our customer. To give you an idea, I'm in wheat flour milling. We produce about 2,000 different SKUs for our customers across North America and around the world.
Wow. So it's a pretty complex business. So going back to that point you made about looking for innovation and better ways to do things, what are some of the big areas where you see opportunity?
I think in today's environment, and it's not a think, I know food safety continues to be very, very important. The products that we make each and every day, not only does a consistency have to be there, so the foods we love to eat are the same every day, but they also have to be safe. And so food safety is an evolving benchmark. Mm-hmm. This is an outdoor sport. The raw material starts outside, so it presents a lot of unique challenges. And then, without a doubt, how consumers are leveraging data and insights and their phone and the internet, whatever it may be, the consumer is really taking control of the food that goes into their body, and they're making decisions that maybe 10 years ago they didn't have access to or they didn't know about. And that's definitely changing what happens with food production.
Right. So that's a great way to frame it up of, these transformations at a consumer level are driving change all the way back through the entire value chain. So talk to us a little bit specifically around, your experience with sophisticated analytics and machine learning through the value chain. What has that journey been like for you, and how did you maybe become a believer?
I've been associated with a couple, you call it implementation installations, mm-hmm. Of various tools. We continue to evolve it and use it today. And really, it's driven from a relentless pursuit of my company trying to find insights through data that you turn into information that help you win with your customer, or deliver for the consumer, or whatever it may be. These tools are incredibly powerful, but it really starts with a vision and a passion, and a belief that there's something that resides in the data that you may not know, may not see, may not understand, but it will deliver results for your business.
Man, that's a great starting position to look from. When you think about what types of business problems, and maybe specific to the grain business or just more broadly, but what types of business problems or contexts do you think are most suited to really generate high ROI with these types of analytics initiatives?
I think everybody hears, whatever words like machine learning or AI, blockchain, whatever these big words are. I think a business and business leadership needs to be very critical of where would you apply it, how might you apply it to your business, and what that means. It's not for everything that your business does day in and day out. It's not for every customer, and it's not for every process within your business. I'm a big believer you have to start somewhere, and then build the confidence in these types of tools, and they'll take you in new and different directions inside the business. But in a manufacturing environment, for example, things like consistency matter to our business and to our customers. So how might I apply learning of what's happening day in and day out, whether it's our plant or our product or our people? How might I apply machine learning over the top to help me prevent an issue before the issue arises?
Right.
I think I always like to phrase it as predictive analytics. Keep the train on the tracks, but tell me when it's starting to get a little wobbly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all about that idea of using these insights that you're pulling from the analysis to make a better decision, whether that's about something that a negative thing that you're able to prevent or a positive thing that you're able to take advantage of. It really comes down to those decisions and those actions you're able to take. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, I think any business, doesn't matter what you're in, whether it's something like what I do with grain processing and food or making widgets. Mm-hmm. I mean, every company's collecting data. It's how do you take data and really turn it into that insight that becomes information, which leads to better decisions for your business. And everybody's tracking everything, but is it really relevant? And do you really understand your business enough that those critical 5 or 10 things that will ultimately increase the profitability of an organization? Mm-hmm. And can you put machine learning to help you drive better results for your business?
Excellent. Awesome stuff here. So that kind of leads to another point here about, one of the biggest things that we see as far as indicators of success with a technology initiative is when there's strong leadership guiding the organization and guiding the process. So what would you say some of those critical elements of leadership are? Or maybe even more broadly, what are some of the best practices you've seen around change management?
Yeah, I think from a business leadership perspective, in today's, the world's speeding up quickly. I personally, and I've seen this in other great leaders, really have a belief that what will disrupt your business or your industry is not always going to come from within the industry or the business. Mm-hmm. There are other businesses that will have an impact into your industry or business. And are you thinking more globally about how a service offering over here or information flow over there in different parts of the world or different industries, how that's going to change the expectation of your customer? And then they may be asking you those questions. So I think anytime you get into these tools, the leadership just has a natural curiosity around improving and adopting new ideas that are really going to change the business. And so I think it starts with just a real business curiosity and an understanding that disruption is going to come from many ways. I think when you get into change leadership, it obviously starts with senior leadership, but it's not running around saying, hey, rah, rah, let's go do this. It's about using the tool in how you run the business, but also helping people and explaining the why to your entire team. Often it's, hey, we got a new tool and nobody really knows what it's going to do. So the why we did something or why we're using the tool or why these things matter aren't clear to everybody, and adoption's low. But if senior leadership is doing it and using it and explaining the why, you'll really help drive change within your organization. I think it also starts with getting multiple, whether it's functions or people involved early in the journey. Often the expertise or the real knowledge lies down inside the organization. And you need to find those creative thought leaders that are really can influence others and bring them along for the journey. So it's not only senior leadership, it's also getting others involved. And then, I think anytime you're going to go through a change where it may change the business process or how you run parts of your business, you've got to be very thoughtful about the impact of the change, and you have to be deliberate in its implementation and spend time on change management. It is incredibly important that at the end, everybody felt like they were part of this and they understand how this will impact the business, how it will make people's lives better at the company, how it will impact the customer, make whatever you're doing in whatever business better for the customer. But you have to be incredibly thoughtful and deliberate about the emphasis on change management inside the organization.
Bill, there's a lot to unpack right there of what you just said. Really some good nuggets around this change management piece, because I think sometimes that gets underestimated when people take on a big technology initiative within their company. So a lot of wisdom in what you just said. The things that stood out to me, number one, this piece that you talked about of the why. Why are we doing this? And linking together the execution component with what's the strategy behind it and what does this enable us to do? So I really like that you called that out. The other thing that I think I heard you saying when you talk about finding these thought leaders within the business and the people who are, can drive that change, a bit of this links back to the idea of all of this technology on its own is somewhat worthless unless you have really smart, effective, competent people that are interacting with the technology, especially in an analytics context of, it takes the really capable human to interact with the good insights from the machine in order to get the results that you want. Does that resonate with your experience?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the people, you have to have a really creative personality involved in it. The other thing that I've always found that was incredibly impactful and really builds on momentum for these types of tools is that you find these nuggets or insights or ways you can transform your business that really challenge status quo or the norms or historical norms of the business. You step back and you go, man, I really need to think through that. That is so different than maybe what I've learned, what I've seen, that these tools are really challenging the business and the people in ways that you didn't even realize or you didn't even know were there. That's when you start to realize I may be onto something here. And so finding people that are open just in and of itself, that the result may be different than what you've expected for 20 years. That's a unique person. And then when they see the tool do that and it baffles them and then they can get their head around it, they go, yep, that is exactly right. What you're doing is creating a sustainable, what I like to say is sustainable competitive business advantage.
Right. Sustainable competitive business advantage. And that links directly with what you were saying earlier about that business curiosity, because the person who is going to be open to a different result than what they maybe expected, that's someone who has a curiosity about the business and how do we do this better. So
Yep.
that really ties together. So if you think about the technology adoption curve, and I'm sure you've seen this play out time and time again in the industry, but if on the left-hand side, we've got our innovators and our early adopters, then we move to the middle where the kind of the majority sits. And then on the far right, we've got the laggards they're only going to adopt the technology when they absolutely have to. How would you describe the benefits of being on the left-hand side of that curve?
When you're so I would frame it as 10% of the people are early adopters or the innovators. 70% they're along for the ride. You explain the why and they're going to come on the journey with you. And then you have 20% of the people that, they're just not going to change. Mm-hmm. When you're in that early adopter, you tend to have, as we mentioned earlier, the curiosity side. You're challenging the business, you're challenging yourself. I've always found that it provides the fuel for me and a motivation for me to stay current, to stay relevant, to challenge our business in the role that I'm in now. I think the other thing is it helps you see other industries and see where this disruption may come from. I think one of the great ones, our business is heavy supply chain, heavy logistics delivery to a customer. And you think about how UPS or FedEx has just changed the delivery norm for everybody. And so when you're an early adopter, you're out visiting these other companies that are doing really neat things or creative things, and you're going, yep, that's going to hit us. Maybe it's through our people, maybe it's through our consumer, or maybe it's through our customer.
Right.
And so you're looking at a lot of different things. And in general, the early technology adopters have a pretty expansive bandwidth of what they're always looking out for. The other thing I would say is a lot of the, whether you call them millennials or younger people, they are incredibly adaptive to technology. They've grown up with it. It's becoming the expectation of any business that you have to provide a well-rounded technology platform that helps people find work-life balance. It demonstrates to the team the innovation, the creativity of the company, and it's becoming a new norm. That the expectation of technology is, in some cases, how people are looking at companies of where might I go work? Do they provide the latest, greatest that helps me be efficient at what I do? So maybe it helps that I can do more community service or those things that matter to them. It affords them more time to find that work-life balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of these, if you're a technology native and you're using technology, you're using your iPhone for everything, or your smartphone for everything in your personal life, when you come to work, the first thing you're going to look for is what tools can help me be better here. And so it seems like it just sets up a talent advantage for companies that are being forward thinking about how they put tools into the hands of some of their top young talent.
Yeah, and I think it's always balanced with, you can have the latest, greatest technology, but you have to provide the opportunity the experiences for people to understand the business, because technology is remarkably efficient and good in that it is only as good as the people that tell it what to do or what you think might be outcomes or whatever. And so technology by itself is just technology. Technology with really smart people that are knowledgeable about an industry or curious or whatever it may be, then you're really creating insights for your business.
Right.
And so the technology is important, but it's also really finding great people to help the technology understand what it should be looking for, or let's bring this into the data set that maybe we didn't realize before. You're then maximizing what technology will do for a business.
Coming back to that idea of human plus machine again. So that's great to tie it all back together there. So you mentioned this idea of looking at trends that are happening in other industries and thinking about how they're coming into your specific industry. So again, from a technology perspective, what's maybe one prediction that you have about how the grain industry, or even more broadly, food and ag, might look differently in 5 years compared to what we look like
now? I think you see the evolution of it happening right now, and it'll continue to get better. And that is people taking control of what they eat, and the apps or phones or whatever it may be is helping people avoid what they don't want to eat. So when you walk into a grocery store, you used to be bombarded by brands and the influence of those brands. Today, you can get down into the ingredients and you can go, hey, I don't want this or I don't want that, and start knocking out foods or products or that you personally deem is something I don't want to put into my body. And that's going to be a continual evolution of where does it go. We get asked, do we do organic? And yes, we do organic products. We do conventional products. We do ancient grain products. We do gluten-free products. We do all sorts of stuff. I've always viewed my role, our job, is to provide choice for the consumer. And the consumer today is taking advantage of the technology to make that choice actionable. And that will only continue to grow. And I think where it's all evolving towards is food as medicine.
Yeah, so that's a whole topic that we could spend an entire episode talking about. That's a pretty powerful vision to think about where the industry is headed towards.
Yeah, it's been in food 28 years, and it seems like it's speeding up exponentially each year.
Man, well, Bill, really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts on technology, just from, again, such an experienced perspective of in the trenches with these initiatives playing out and the insights that you've gained along the way of how to make them successful. So thanks for being with us today, and thanks for sharing these insights with us.
Well, I hope everybody enjoys it and gets something out of it. So thank you for having me.